All right, we're back here on a Wednesday night here on the Full Ride on the Chase Thomas podcast, where fellow University of North Georgia alumni Matt Green is in the house, fresh cut, side shaved, hair long up top. He's got the. It looks pretty shaved on the side. It looks pretty for the YouTube folks. They can see it. I think just go back to the previous weeks and you'll see the difference. Matt Green's got it.
Progression.
Well, we've got the University of North Georgia merch in the house, I think, if I am not looking incorrectly.
I'm repping today.
There you go. I'm also repping, but the grad school, not the undergrad, unfortunately.
Oh, is that? That's a little burnt orange in this.
Is it?
In this light.
Do you know what it is? It's the. I have a green. The fiance set up this awesome. I'm a big light guy. For folks that don't know me personally, Christmas lights, that's my big deal. Is seeing, driving around and seeing different.
I thought you said light guy. I'm like, lights. What do you? Just really like lights.
I love
all kinds of lights. If there's nice looking street lights.
Yes.
On a street, you're like, oh, it's great lights.
Right. I think that's a big thing for me. And no matter where I live, what I do, I need lights to be a very strong fixture, pardon the pun, in my life. And
oh wow, great pun.
I have no qualms about admitting here on this podcast, Matt, that our Christmas tree is very much still up because I refuse to put it back in the basement because it makes me happy when I'm watching stuff late and I'm taking notes on games and writing away at 2 o'clock in the morning, or if I'm studying during the semester, when I peer over and I see those colorful lights on the tree, it gets me going. I'm ready to move, and I keep working. It's part of the grind for me, and it's one of those little things. Some people have their own little pick-me-up. My pick-me-up is lights. I just love lights.
So it's in the living room, prominently displayed.
No, it's in the corner.
December 15th right now.
It's in the same spot that it is during Christmas season. Yeah.
Good stuff. Hey, whatever makes you happy.
I just. The fiance, we had a whole back and forth about it where it was she's like, is it going to be less sentimental or less cool come Christmas time if it's been up the whole year? And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be great either way. It's always great. I'm always happy with it.
She might be onto something though. It might lose that special feeling it's got. But if if you're getting that special feeling every single day when you see that tree, then that's a Christmas song somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Make every day Christmas or something like that. It's in one of those Christmas songs for sure.
Yeah, sign me up. Hallmark movies on Christmas, all in. Big Aurora Tea Garden guy. Love the Aurora Tea Garden mysteries.
I don't know. I'm just I think I've just heard that in commercials enough times from just watching different things.
I legitimately love those movies. They're fantastic. They're just. They put you in a good mood, man. I'm telling you, life's hard, and you spend an hour and a half with Aurora Tea Garden, played by Candace Cameron Bure, you'll feel better. I promise.
Oh, that's right. I've definitely seen those commercials.
Yeah. She's a Hallmark mainstay now. She runs that channel.
I have nothing to add. I'll see Monk on the Hallmark channel.
Is Monk on there now?
It'll be on there sometimes.
I never watched an episode of Monk.
That's when I see those commercials.
But see, Monk was
Monk fan.
I could see that, but Monk for me was, I think it came on either right before or right after Psych, and I was a big Psych guy with Sean Roday, and
I never saw that, but it seemed like the same vibe. It seemed like they're going for the same type thing. But I'm just a big comedy guy, so I've noticed that about myself. Even the non-comedy genre stuff I like will be stuff that has laughs in it. Like Monk, it's not a comedy, but it's kind of a comedy.
I thought it was a comedy. Is it not?
It's it basically is. It's if it's a mystery show, comedy, whatever you want to call it. But like Barry or something, you've seen that.
Oh, Barry's fantastic. Love Barry.
It's a drama, whatever you want to call it, but it's a lot of comedy in there.
Yeah,
too. I feel that's my kind of stuff.
That's fair. We're making our way through the middle of season 2 of Succession. We're behind, and man, it's bleak. Succession is just it's bleak, man. Have you watched that on HBO?
No, I've never seen it.
It's really good, but it's one of those and we'll talk college football in a second, I promise, folks. But the one show we tried, and I enjoyed the first season, but it's just so bleak that it was just bumming us out, was Euphoria, where the darkness of all those kids' lives and just where that show is, I'm like, I can't do this. This is just sad. I just feel sad every episode.
Yeah, see, I don't watch stuff like that. I want to laugh. I want to be happy.
Well, there you go. Does the fiance feel the same? Is she the same way? Is she a pro comedy all the time?
Honestly, she's just watching things all the time, like just on her phone. Like,
hold on, are our fiancés the same? My fiance does that all the time. She's constantly watching stuff on her phone. Not the West Wing.
Tori is watching the West Wing, I swear, like 4 hours a day. Just like it's either on while she's working or
it's an anxiety thing, I think, because it's safe. You know what it is. You don't have to pay that close attention, and it's just a feel-good type thing to have on in the background. Yeah, no. 30 Rock is a common one for her, or Arrested Development, things like that. But yeah, no, all the time. She watches stuff on her phone all the time. Never done that, but until I met her, she does.
She'll be sitting there in the blank room or empty room, blank TV, watching her phone. It's like, what are you doing?
I thought you were saying blank room. That's a little terrifying.
TV.
A blank room situation where she's just sitting in a chair by herself with nothing else in the room and just staring at her phone, watching.
Or reading on her phone, for sure.
There you go.
That's basically what she's doing. 90%
Interesting. Well, Matt Green, how many days until college football?
How many days, sir? For our loyal listeners that are listening to this first thing, once it's posted on one of mine or your Instagram story or Twitter, wherever you saw this on Thursday, there is 86 days until college football season. Mm-hmm. We're getting there. And coming up with the best 86 of all time, I was struggling. Not many. Had to go with Courtney Brown. Penn State, number 1 overall pick in the draft in 2000. Let's not talk about his pro career. It's not important.
Yeah.
Whatever he did in Cleveland. What he did at Penn State, he was a monster. First-team All-American, all that. So had to go Courtney Brown with 86. But also started thinking here, 8-6. Mm-hmm. Not a record you see very often, right?
Yeah.
8-6. It's kind of like a perfect scenario. You basically have to win your division. You have to make the conference championship. So you go 8-4. To go 8-4 and make the conference championship isn't likely. And then you probably lose the conference championship and lose your bowl game to go 8-6, that sort of thing. So I started digging and shocked at how many times this happened in the MAC. Like, it's probably happened like 10 times or so in the MAC having an 8-6 team. But 3 times they had an 8-6 team win the conference. Who do we have? It was Central Michigan back in 2007. Toledo is literally the team I looked up first to see if they did it. But
was
Buffalo,
was it not them?
No, they weren't one of them. Central Michigan 2007, Buffalo 2008, and then in 2019, Miami, Ohio, and Central Michigan both went 8-6 and were in the conference championship. So
that's wild.
I thought that was kind of crazy. The only Power 5 team to ever go 8-6 and win the conference. Do you think you can get this, sir?
In the MAC or in general?
No, Power 5. Power 5 team went 8-6 and won the conference.
You got to tell me the year.
2012.
Okay, give me a second.
I'll be fair here. There's an asterisk.
There's an asterisk. Is it because some wins were vacated by the winner?
No.
Okay.
They played in the conference championship game and they won it. But
2012.
There's something like that going on.
2012. Was it ACC?
Nope.
Interesting. Okay. Big East? Was it Big East at 20? Were they still 2012? I'm trying to think. No. I have no idea. Like Colorado or something?
Wisconsin.
Oh man.
The asterisk is Ohio State went 12-0 and were under probation or whatever. Urban Meyer's first year.
Oh yeah.
So that's the asterisk there. But Wisconsin went 8-6. It was when they dropped like 70 on Nebraska, like 70-45 or something, like a crazy game. But yeah.
I have no memory of this whatsoever.
You don't remember that? I want to say it's the game where Taylor Martinez. Wait, I get him. Taylor Martinez is the old school one, right?
Yes.
Where he had like a 95-yard run or something, where he juked like 12 people. Like it was insane. I was just only 11 guys on the field, but it was a crazy highlight reel run. But that's all I have for the 8 and 6. So I thought that was interesting. I was kind of surprised at how many times it happened. A couple times in the Pac-12, but no one ever actually won the division or anything. Other notable number 86s. Can you think of any other 86s?
I was just thinking about that. Like, who Tennessee? Like, nobody comes to mind. 86. I mean, can you name a Georgia 86 of note?
I can name a Georgia one. One of the first few I thought. Randy McMichael.
Randy McMichael was 86?
He was 86 at Georgia, yeah. So Randy McMichael is what I wanted to bring up to you. I have another trivia question for you.
Okay.
Randy McMichael was a part of a very famous play kind of moment in Georgia history. He was like keeping the fans off of the field. The last time Georgia stormed the field in Sanford Stadium, who was the opponent?
South Carolina?
Incorrect. South Carolina in 2000?
2000? That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's why I was thinking in my head of like he was trying to, hey, this is embarrassing.
I think around 2000 is when South Carolina lost like 20 games in a row. They like stormed the field after beating like UL Monroe or something.
Tennessee?
Tennessee is the correct answer. Georgia did not beat Tennessee in the 90s.
Happier times.
And 2000 broke like 9-10 straight losses to Tennessee, and fans stormed the field, carried the field goal post through the tunnel out of Sanford Stadium all the way downtown. It was madness. The fans destroyed the hedges that night.
That's interesting.
And, Georgia people don't take kindly to anyone destroying the hedges, so I'm sure they weren't.
So y'all have not stormed the field since?
No, not since 2000. Because if you think about it, Richt got there 2001.
Yeah.
And then 2002, Georgia won the SEC championships. They've basically been maybe not an elite program, but they've been one of the upper echelon programs basically since 2002. So they, you're not really rushing the field once you're a big dog. I feel like it like I don't know. It's just got to be a huge upset to rush the field. Like Georgia beats LSU in 2013. It's like it's a huge game, but you're not gonna rush the field or anything. Like A&M rushed the field when they beat Bama last year. Like if Georgia were to beat Bama at home next year or something, their fans wouldn't rush the field. It would be
I wonder if we beat
win.
Florida this year if we rush the field. Getting over the hump, kind of like what you're talking about in 2000.
The drought isn't there though, right? I mean, they won.
I mean, it's bad. What is the 21st century Georgia or Tennessee Florida rivalry?
Are we going to Josh Dobbs? Is that the last time Tennessee beat Florida?
I think so, but I could be wrong. Let's see. The last time he won was... Yeah, so Florida won 11 straight from 2005 to 2015, and they've won currently the 5 straight from 2017 to the present.
So that 2016 with Dobbs, that's the only win in the last since 05, 04?
So we've won one time since 04.
Oh man.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. They're not going to be ranked higher than Tennessee though. That's the only thing. It's a big whatever you want to say hurdle to get over, but I don't know if it's field rushing like material. Like even if Tennessee's like what I've talked about, their best case scenario, and they start the year like 5-0, and like if they start the year 5-0 and Bama's 5-0 in Neyland Stadium, like they could be ranked number 7 at that point. But if you beat Bama, like
Bama, there's no question.
There's no question.
Bama, there's gonna be the chaos in downtown Knoxville if that were the case. Oh my God. We don't have to be undefeated at that point. If you just beat Bama at home, it would be unlike anything I've ever seen.
I'm here for it, man. I think it would be one of the better stories of college football if it happens.
I'm here for it, man. The college football 2023 Hall of Fame ballot came out, sir. and this is right up your alley. You're a CFB historian, expert, so you're able to see like, oh, Josh Heupel. Wow, another way to add to his recruiting mastery is he's a Hall of Famer in college football because people forget he won a national title. Huh?
I don't know if he's getting in.
Do you not think so?
I'm just looking at this ballot, man. And I'm disappointed in myself because I knew you were going to say I was like a college football Hall of Fame, like kind of expert or whatever here.
You literally worked there.
I know. I don't know exactly how many people get in on the ballot. Like, I know you see that MLB ballot come out every year. Like, you get like 10 votes, I think, or maybe 8. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It states clearly how many you're allowed to vote for. I don't know how many. There's 80 players on the ballot. I don't know how many they're actually allowed to vote for. I feel like they only put in like 10 players a year or so, 15. So I tried to kind of find it, but I wasn't really able to. So I'm just looking at the dudes that are locks, just like unquestionable locks, like Eric Berry, Justin Blackmon, 2-time Biletnikoff winner, Reggie Bush, Warwick Dunn, Paul Posluszny, I think, was a 2-time Bednarik winner. Kajana Carter won the Heisman. Julius Peppers was dominant. Tebow, Peter Warwick. Like, those are all, I feel like, locks to me. Like, those are kind of like college football legends. But then it's like, yeah, Michael Bishop, Tim Couch, Dwight Freeney, Garrison Hurst, Janikowski. I think Kevin Butler might be the only kicker in the College Football Hall of Fame. But Janikowski was like a legend. Like, I feel like if kickers
Aguayo, though, if we're going to put somebody in, Aguayo what was his record where he was just, can't miss for years at Florida State? What was Aguayo? Wasn't he a better college kicker than Seabass?
He could have been, but Janikowski was a first-round pick.
That's true.
Maybe that was a
but
bad
that doesn't matter. I don't think that has anything.
Franchise's part.
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with the voting.
No,
like it's all college football only.
For sure. And then you also have like Derek Johnson. I think he's probably a lock. Like I think he might have been like a multiple-time All-American at Texas. Ryan Leaf, Ray Lewis, Marshawn Lynch, Kellen Moore, Antoine Randall L. I would probably put in the College Football Hall of Fame. D'Angelo Williams, I think, is like 5th or 6th all time in college football rushing yards. Like he's way up there on that list. Like, and then I'm probably leaving out multiple dudes too, like Haloti Ngata. Like there's just a bunch of ballers on this list. I'm not sure how many can actually get in. There's usually not more than like.
They have Rhode Island quarterbacks in here. Tom Earhart from 1985. I have no idea what that. Like this list is crazy. The amount of people.
Well, they also. I should have sent you this PDF. It's a little more organized. I'm not sure what you're looking at. But,
I'm looking at the Football Foundation.
They also have the D2 players or like other division, like Ashley Ambrose. I know I saw on there. Like
a lot of Villanova guys on here.
Like I couldn't tell you about a lot of these guys, but
well, that's what I want to know. Is like who is going when they're doing the voting. They're like, man, I remember 1985 Villanova, and let me tell you, this dude, he had it going. He's a Hall of Famer in college football if I've ever seen one. It's like no one watched any tape from 1985 Villanova.
It's kind of cool being in the third floor, the rotunda, I think they call it, where the actual Hall of Fame is. And because I would like working up there, you just kind of be killing time. You just be looking up random players, and it was kind of cool. You just look up, you're like, who the hell is this guy? You're like, oh wow, this guy's 3-time All-American, and he said this so-and-so record. You're like, okay, he's
so they have everything in there.
Oh yeah,
it's the real. I never went. Like even when I was living in the city, I never went.
Gotta go, man. Yeah, and
parking's just not a fun thing over there. Where do you park? There's nowhere to park over there.
I mean,
you got to Uber.
Take your own risk in Atlanta. There's a parking deck there too.
Yeah, it was the whole parking thing for me.
that's a deal breaker for you.
Yeah.
But the coaching like criteria for coaches to get in, it's so weak. I guess it's because like coaches are kind of like institutions in college football. Like that you could be somewhere like you are the program for 20 years or so. So just like looking at the coaches. Hot take here for you. So, Paul Johnson and Mark Richt, I think, are guaranteed to get in. Like, if we're talking like a real Hall of Fame, like Mark Richt, I feel like it's like the equivalent of like a Jerry Sloan or something, right? Like, he's still going to get in. Like, people respect him as an all-time great coach, even though he never won a championship. Paul Johnson's got that Division I AA resume too, with the Georgia Southern years and everything.
Is Eric Russell on the list?
He's not on this list. He might be in the Hall of Fame.
Because Eric Russell, man, he started the Georgia Southern program and then immediately won the national title like the next year.
For sure, yeah, I would think he would be in the Hall of Fame. But here's the hot take I got for you. Also, before that, like Larry Coker,
he's not in, by the way.
Who, Larry Coker?
No, Eric Russell
isn't. Mm-mm. Yeah, he definitely should be. He created that program. Like Larry Coker, should he be in the Hall
he's
of
not
Fame?
in there.
Like,
no,
hopefully not. Ralph Region, it's like it was respectable what he
did. Yeah,
you're
solid. You're just not a Hall of Famer. Like you did a solid job at Maryland. Yeah.
Frank Solich, is he a Hall of Famer?
No, but really good. Great career. Like he just like that man won for a little bit at Nebraska and was playing big time football. Was like, I'm just gonna go to Ohio and just hang out for 20 years and be solid.
Was it a great career though?
Yeah, Frank Solich had a great career.
Frank Solich, this is the hot take.
Oh no, leave him alone.
Frank Solich may be the guy who killed Nebraska football.
He is an all-time 173 and 101. I mean,
Can I show you the 5 years prior to Frank Solich being at Nebraska?
Okay.
The Huskers went 11-1, 13-0, 12-0, 11-2, 13-0. Your boy Frank Solich takes over.
He went 55 and at 58-19.
But look at that program he just took over. What did they go 60-3 over?
He got
Bo
Pelini. He went 9-3 and got fired.
But Bo Pelini came years after. Frank Solich inherited the powerhouse.
But I think Frank Solich was on the watch. He's like Jon Snow. He was on the watch. He was on the wall at the tail end of the Nebraska dynasty, where like players just like it just was far more difficult to win titles there. Like that's when it shifted. The early 2000s is when it shifted.
Maybe it's him though. Maybe he cause look, he went.
What is happening? Like just really.
He went 9-4, 12-1, 10-2, 11-2, 7-7, 10-3. Got him out of there.
Okay.
They were winning they were losing 0-1 games a year. Like the level they were at, and then Frank Solich, I think he probably got ran off. I don't think he was like, hey, he's doing well in Nebraska, but he wants to go to Ohio instead. I don't think anyone would ever make that career
He won 9 games at Ohio a billion times.
No, and I respect what he did at Ohio, but I
don't know.
I'm
a Frank Solich guy. You're not going to get me on this.
So, yeah, maybe Frank Solich, he's a borderline Hall of Famer. 173
Frank Solich, welcome on the pod at any time. Matt Green won't be on, don't worry.
Yeah, so have the man who murdered Cornhusker football on the pod.
Unbelievable.
No.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's interesting to see who ultimately gets in, but Bishop is folks, if you don't remember peak Michael Bishop and Darren Sproles and that team, that was a team. Michael Bishop was so much fun. Him and L. Roberson.
Sproles was after Bishop though, right?
Was Sproles with L. Roberson?
Yes, L. Roberson. That's
so who was with Bishop?
They're the one that beat Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship.
I remember that.
I'm not sure who the running back on that team was. Because I think they finished. Was that
Bishop was the
Tennessee's
team that was? They should have won the national title. That was when they were good enough to win a national title. Was that 1999 Kansas?
I think it was 1998.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's when there was a crazy final day of college football where the UCLA played Miami.
Yeah, they went undefeated in the Big 12 and 11-2 overall.
And they finished number 2, number 3?
Where did they finish? Final number 9. It looks like.
Oh wow. Oh, that's
who would you guess was the defensive coordinator in 1998 for Kansas State?
Oh man, is it someone I should know?
I'll give you a hint. He is still coaching, but not a head coach.
I don't know if I could even come up with an educated guess. Honestly.
Mike Stoops.
Mike Stoops.
Not to be confused with Mark Stoops.
Where is he?
I'll give you one guess. His
Arizona
brother,
at one point, right?
That's true. He was the head coach there, but I'll give you one hint. His brother runs the program.
Oh, he's at Kentucky?
Yeah, he's the inside linebackers coach.
Oh, I think I did know that, actually.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, that's another crazy thing. Last thing on Frank Solich bashing. 2001, they lost the national championship game. Got absolutely smoked by maybe the greatest team of all time.
Yeah, I'll give them a pass
Hurricanes. For sure. They finished ranked 8th in the AP poll.
That's weird.
Lost in the national championship game. Finished ranked 8th. But I think it was the computers, I think, had them higher than the AP
BCS had them higher than the AP.
Before the championship game.
Huh.
But yeah.
What a weird time.
Fun fact for you. Yeah.
What a weird time.
The Joey Harrington era of college football.
There you go. Sam Pittman gets an extension through 2026 at Arkansas. What do you make of the extension and the long-term commitment to Mr. Pittman, Captain Hog?
Gotta love it, man. I feel like no one in the world has a bad thing to say about Sam Pittman, and I'm not going to be the first to say a bad word about him. I feel like he just fits in so perfectly at Arkansas.
There's a path to him being the best Arkansas coach of all time.
Yeah, honestly, there is. Who is it right now? Was Broyles? Houston Nutt. I think they got an old school. They got some old school success.
Yeah, it's probably the guy whose name the field's named after. Or their award is named after.
Yeah, so I think Frank Broyles, was the head coach at Arkansas for their.
Oh yeah, he was 149 and 62. Yeah, it's still.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, I think Chad Morris. Those years were just so bad. It just completely warped everyone's perception of what Arkansas was. And it was no, Arkansas has been a respectable program. The Houston Nutt years, you're talking about, multiple conference championship appearances. The Bobby Petrino years, they made a Sugar Bowl run in there. They've had plenty of successful history as a program. As much as
the 98 year, were they number 1 when they played Tennessee? They might have been when they went to Knoxville and lost. They were in the top 10.
Where the dude fumbled.
Yes.
I don't know if they were number 1. I think
they were up
Tennessee
there.
Number 1 or Tennessee?
Maybe Tennessee was 1 and maybe they were 3. That's a possibility. I know that was a top 5 matchup. I remember that.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure on that.
But they finished 9-3 that year.
Arkansas is a good program, and it's it took Sam Pittman getting back and look, we're not some joke of a program. We have a legit history, and it's just good to see it, honestly.
I would agree. Louisville, they hire an AD full-time, Josh Hurd, who's been their interim AD. I'm curious to see what happens there because, it's always been a basketball school, basketball first. It'll always be basketball first. They hired Kenny Payne this offseason, but now that he is given the full-time reins and that there's no question, I wonder if that's part of the reason Scott Satterfield is still there, is because he had the interim status for a while, and now that he's locked in, what does this mean for Louisville? How do they figure out their athletic department? Because, they're a really good baseball team. They're still in the super regionals. We'll see what happens. They're no Tennessee in terms of college baseball right now, but no one is, and people forget that. But, speaking of, are you watching Georgia baseball this weekend? Are they in the docket? No.
I couldn't even watch it while they were playing.
Why?
I don't know. This ESPN Plus giving me all kinds of issues. Said when signed into my cable provider. I don't know. I was just watching it on I just kept refreshing.
Look at Boomer Matt Green. He's I don't understand these technology.
No, I understand it. This was let's be honest. I didn't try that hard. It was Georgia baseball. Is I want to watch it. Oh, can't watch it. Let's try for a few seconds. Whatever. I'll watch something else. But they were I think down 4 in the 9th inning of that elimination game. I think he scored 3 runs in the top of the 9th, but then lost by a run. So
that's a shame.
I pay very little attention to the college baseball.
That's a shame. Back to the Louisville thing, though. I'm curious. What do you think? Do you think Scott Satterfield makes it past this year? How many games does Scott Satterfield have to win to keep his job at Louisville?
I feel like he should make it past this year. I'm not he hasn't been great or anything, but I'm not really sure.
It's a strong Justin Fuente vibe from Vatek, where it just feels inevitable.
What is this, year 4?
This will be 2019 is when he started. 2019, 2020. Yes, year 4.
this will be year 4. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if they go 7-5, like, are you really gonna fire the head coach? Like, I don't know. Like, what are your realistic expectations going into the year for Louisville? Like,
I mean, they went 6-6 last year, and they went 4-7 in the regular season 2020, and then they won 8 games in the first one, but they went 7-5. He's never won more than 7 games in the regular season after 3 years. Louisville, I just think you can be better at Louisville. Like, we've seen it. We've seen with Lamar and with Petrino. Like, especially if Jeff Brom is seriously interested. I don't know. I would bet
that's an X factor that could if you know he's interested, then that might kind of change things. But I don't know. I feel like Lamar, that's an outlier. Like, Bobby Petrino, he can win at Louisville. No one else seems to be able to win in Louisville. So I don't know.
Charlie Strong won for a little bit.
But that's true. He was only there for a couple years too, right? So that's fair. Louisville, the Petrino years are definitely consistent 8-9 wins here and there. So I don't know. You have a lot of worse years too. So I don't know. I like Scott Satterfield. So he's not a guy who I would call for his job, but I think if they're in a bowl game, like I wouldn't see them firing their head coach. I guess if
their schedule sucks this year. Their schedule's rough. They open on the road at Syracuse. They go to UCF, Florida State at home, South Florida at home, at BC, at Virginia, at Clemson, and at Kentucky. They get Clemson, NC State, Kentucky the last 3 games. Guaranteed. That's what I'm going to say. I'm saying guaranteed Satterfield's out. I think they lose those final 3, and that's just like a bad taste where it's like they go on a slide in the last 3 and lose faith.
Yeah, you have to be 7-1 or something at that point to lose the final 3.
It just sets a bad, like we just saw with South Carolina. It's like, forget about whatever happened at the beginning of the season in the middle. It's what we did those last couple weeks where, wow, turn the corner. Yeah, it's just fans, for whatever reason, it's not what it just, you just forget like what it was like early. They care how you finish. It matters so much more in a lot of these instances how you finish versus how you started. So I don't know. We'll see.
Falcons. That's what they've been doing for decades, holding on to coaches for too long because they finish the season strong.
Hey, and that's just not good process. It's like if they're not the guy, they're not the guy. Just move on. It shouldn't be those end results at the end of the thing. I'm a big process over results guy, as you know. UGA, they had a big recruiting weekend. You brought out the white uniforms. Don't like those. I hope those don't become a thing. I know they confirmed it this week that those are not going to be on the field, but it's just more of like a look for guys to take videos in, and that's just like the new thing that everybody does. But
I'm not really sure why you have a bunch of uniform options that you're never going to wear. But yeah, I'm just a firm believer you just don't change the helmets. Like, there's certain teams that can get away with changing the helmets, but the all white, I wouldn't mind seeing the all white one time, but with the red helmet, like I feel like that would be fine. Didn't realize Georgia actually wore all white one time back in 1999 at Tennessee. Yeah,
was it white helmets?
No, just red helmet, white jersey, white pants. But
was this a Quincy Carter year?
I believe that would be a Quincy Carter year.
Oh wow, I do not remember this whatsoever. That's wild.
Yeah, because I remember a game at home where they also wore white pants around that time too for one game. I think an LSU game that same time. But yeah, it's weird. I said that about the black jerseys for years. Like, where everyone loves wearing the black jerseys. Let's just rock them once a year. It's not that difficult. But yeah, it's all the recruits have the all red, the all white, the black pants. There's a bunch of stuff that Georgia you just know isn't gonna rock in the games. But yeah, this recruiting visit this weekend for Georgia was massive. Like, it's basically Arch Manning going on tour for these next 3 weeks. Georgia last week, Alabama next week, and then I think Texas the week after that. So, bunch of 5 stars just following this man wherever he goes. I know there's a bunch of 5 stars this weekend going to Alabama on this visit. So, it seems like Georgia's definitely in the hunt with Alabama getting that quarterback blanking on his name right now, the quarterback commit like a week or two ago. You'd have to think this is really just a Georgia-Texas race for Arch Manning. Mm-hmm. But even other than him, Justice Haynes, like 5-star running back out of he was at Blessed Trinity, Verron Haynes' son. Verron Haynes, another throwback Tennessee game. Great 2001 game. I don't know if you remember that one. It was a classic for Georgia. But he's actually going to be at Buford next year for his senior year. So he's a big-time 5-star running back. You have to think Georgia's got the inside track on a UGA legacy like that. So he's also a big-time baseball player. So there's a chance he could play baseball. But, yeah, there's just so many 5-stars at Georgia this weekend. I'm sure it's just going to be another number 1, number 2 class when it's all said and done.
Who's the most underrated who is there this weekend that you want?
Oh, man. I guess he's not underrated. I'm blanking on his name. Let me pull up the guy who's committed to Michigan, linebacker. That is the guy that I feel like this guy's just going to be a dude. And I just feel like Georgia's going to flip him. He's from Tallahassee. Let me see if I can find...
And the Knowles didn't get him.
Yeah, he's from, I think, Lincoln High School. Raylan Wilson. There you go. He's a 74th ranked player in the country, 4-star. 6'2", 213. I feel like that's just the classic modern linebacker, just like barely over 200 pounds when they get into college, and then they're 220 by the time they're playing. But yeah, that guy's a stud. And Lincoln High School, Georgia's had some success. I've had a couple guys out of there over the years. No, Reggie Davis was from there. But yeah, that's a big time program.
Well, it was about time y'all caught up because we did the whole Rocky Top Palooza the previous weekend, and we were just at this point with the operation we've got running, we don't have to hype it up of like, oh, look out for this weekend. It's more of like, Shandavian Bradley will be here, Vic Burley, Nico, Francis Mayaga. Like, it's just, you're just expecting 5-stars to be all around the University of Tennessee campus. I will say, I'm pretty nervous.
Believe me, Arch Manning, that was a huge weekend last weekend, but Georgia's going to have more 5-stars next weekend and the weekend after that. Kirby, that man just never sleeps.
I mean, for me, and like I think every Georgia and Tennessee fan should want this, is Arch to wind up at Georgia and us getting Nico versus Arch and Neyland. Just the Manning factor of him being a dog and just how that would go. Because, I mean, it would be brutal. Like, I don't even know how that would go for him and what the reception would be. I guess because Peyton would probably be there, it would probably be nice. But I don't know. Does he play a villain role?
I mean, it can't be that nice, right? Like, he didn't choose Tennessee, right?
But it was never on the radar. I think it'd be different if it was ever considering it. Where I think Tennessee fans understand it's like, you don't want to be the guy who follows Peyton, like, at Tennessee. Like, you don't want to be that guy.
No, that's fair. But it's like, he hasn't done anything. Like, this isn't Peyton's son either.
Right.
You know? So it's like, he's provided nothing to the University of Tennessee. So they'll boo the hell out of him.
Do you think so? I don't know for sure.
This isn't Freddie Freeman coming to Truist Park. It's like, okay, you're part of the enemy, but damn it, do I respect you and everything you did for this franchise. You know, you can't boo Freddie Freeman.
I think Acuna could boo Freddie Freeman from the dugout.
No, Acuna's got no beef with Freddie Freeman. He's just like, he's a grown man. I'm not gonna miss him. He's playing for a different team. What are you talking about? I don't miss him. Like, I miss, I don't know, sentimental things, not just some other baseball player.
Speaking of Michael Harris, he is a treasure in the outfield right now. Big Michael Harris guy. I think he's gonna be really good. I'm excited about him.
Marcell Ozuna just he can't play another game in the outfield. Like, it just
we just don't have a choice right now.
He just needs to stay at the DH.
I mean, him, Duvall, Heredia, like, it's just not a lot of great options right now for that extra spot. I don't know. The Braves are winning though now.
With Harris, I feel like with Harris, it seems locked down though. Like, if he can continue, because you got Duvall, Harris, Acuna every night, but obviously,
I mean, Duvall's barely hitting a little bit now, but
they give Acuna those whatever days off here and there. So
well, maybe when Rosario comes back, he flips the script a little bit because he had a really, really rough start 2022. So we'll see.
Maybe you can see now.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's the next week for our for our conference FanDuel projection, the betting odds that have been released per conference. We have done the ACC, we have done the Big Ten, and we have done the SEC, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Yeah, so all we have left is the Pac-12 in this, so we'll do the Pac-12 next week. But, Matt, the Big 12, I think it's the most open it's been in a really long time. And I'm curious to know if you shared the same sentiment, because right now the betting favorite is Oklahoma. And Oklahoma is a slight favorite over Texas, but those two are the strong favorites to win the Big 12 this year. But, man, I'm telling you, like, if you told me 7 months from now that it could have, like, you just tell me it was one of these teams, I would not bet it. I would just be like, oh, that sounds about right. Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Kansas State, and maybe Iowa State. I would not I would not be surprised. Like, that would not blow my mind. Half the conference, I do believe, can win it next year. I really do.
You didn't even name my sleeper, man.
Hold on. Who is your sleeper? Because if it's West Virginia, I can't.
West Virginia Mountaineers. Oh, JT Daniels and Graham Harrell's offense. Watch out for the Mountaineers now.
Okay.
Just watch out. They're the team I would take if I'm just going for a lottery ticket, right? Like, what was it, plus 2,000?
I mean, they're the best bet probably of the. I don't think so. I think Kansas State at plus 1,800 is the best. Like, I would actually put a pretty healthy number on it. Like, I would throw 50. I'd throw 50 or 100.
I would say Oklahoma State or Baylor feel like the best bet to me. Like,
you just don't win
really
as much
in terms
there.
Of winning, Kansas State and West Virginia seem like that. Yeah, whatever you want to. Low risk, high reward type play, but
when was the
Oklahoma
last time the Big
State? They seem like they should be the best team in the Big 12. Like, it feels like
Who?
they have the fewest question marks. Oklahoma State. Like, Oklahoma just, I don't know. I feel like we have this perception of just what they always are, and I don't know that they're going to be that this year. Like, they lost a lot on offense. Like, you know, they obviously got Gabriel coming in and offensive coordinator. You know who I'm talking about. Levy.
Yes.
Offensive coordinator.
Jeff Levy.
So obviously that's big for Oklahoma's offense. And then Texas is just that ultimate wild card that they could literally go 11-1 or 5-7, and we have no idea. So Texas just seems like such a gamble, and so at barely worse odds than Oklahoma, Texas just doesn't seem like a good bet. Like,
yeah,
they seem like they would be a sexy pick for like being like the fifth best team in the Big 12, but I think everyone thinks that. And so now they're the second highest or second lowest odds. So I would probably, if I'm really trying to win my money and not just playing a little lotto ticket, I would probably put it on Oklahoma State.
Here's something I want to throw at you. I'm going to do, so from this list, I want you to tell me who has never won the Big 12, who's currently in the Big 12. Who's never won it? Who would you guess?
Who has never won the Big 12? Got to be West Virginia, right?
They are one, yep.
There's multiple ones?
Yeah, there's multiple ones.
Oh, so Kansas has never won.
That is correct.
Iowa State?
That is correct.
Has never won? Is it just those three?
Nope.
One more?
This will surprise you.
I bet it's TCU.
TCU won in 2014 with Gary Patterson.
Damn, I was going to say they shared it that one year. Is this the year they shared it?
It may be, because 2014...
Yeah,
no,
2014
it just has them
was
outright.
the first year of the playoff. No, that is when they shared it with Baylor, because the Big 12 got greedy.
Oh, yeah, it is Baylor. Yes, Baylor also got
Baylor
it.
won head-to-head. It was like,
yes.
We all know how it works. Like,
yes.
We all felt like TCU was the better team, but Baylor beat them head-to-head, so they should have been the Big 12 champion. Instead, they like kind of bickered about it. You're like, you know what? We're just gonna put Ohio State in the playoff. Forget either of you guys. So I guess if it's not TCU, then it's got to be Texas Tech.
That is correct. Texas Tech has also not won it.
Okay, man, I should have got that the first time around, because their best year was obviously that year where they were probably finished third in the Big 12 South, right? Where all three teams lost like one game.
Well, and then we should throw this out there. Oklahoma State's only won it once. and that was in 2011. And then Kansas State's won it twice. 2003.
Is that Brandon Whedon or is that Zach Robinson?
That might be Zach Robinson. I think Whedon was more recent than that. 2011, Oklahoma State. That's a good question. I think it's Zach Robinson, but I could be wrong.
Zach Robinson may have been gone because Zach Robinson was there.
Todd Monken was there. He was the OC.
So I think this may have been Whedon.
Let me see. I'm pulling it up right now.
Dead air.
Well, you're throwing me on the spot here, man. I'm doing what I can. It is Whedon. You're right. It was Whedon.
Okay. That's probably Justin Blackman and I would think on that team. Okay. So that's their only one, though, huh?
That is their only one.
Like, they're definitely in the playoff, I think, last year. If they get one more inch on that play there at the end, where I think they get in the playoff over Cincinnati.
But this is why I think Kansas State's a great gamble. They've won it twice, 2003 and 2012. It's not like they don't have a history.
2003 and 2012. We're going way back there.
Hey,
2012? They won the Big 12?
Hold on. I just figured it out. 2003, 2012. That's almost 10 years. What is 10 years ago this year? 2012, 2022? I'm telling you,
if
folks.
it was 2002 and then 2012, I'd be in there with you.
What if that was something that would be a great thing if some team did that?
And then their best player is Deuce.
There you go.
On top of all of that, that'd be.
Would it really surprise you? Year 3, Chris Kleiman with Adrian Martinez
and Big 12 in 2012.
They did.
Who's on that team? That's the one that had the quarterback that the ran.
That was when they were in the Orange Bowl, right? Yeah, they were in the Orange Bowl that year.
Okay. Wow, I would not have.
I think he's now the
Fiesta
OC.
Bowl.
Fiesta Bowl, yeah.
To Oregon. Okay. Wow, I would not have 11-2, finished top 10. I would not have thought that they had a top 10 finish in the last decade, to be honest.
Yeah.
Kansas State. Always been a low-key Kansas State fan, though.
Isn't that weird, though, if you're like a fan?
I've always had a soft spot for Kansas State. Great uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best uniforms around. Classic. They know what they are, and they don't mess with it. And always respected Kansas State for that.
When would you guess was the last time Texas won the Big 12?
Oh, man. Is it 2009?
It is 2009.
Wow, you got to go back to Colt McCoy.
Like, Texas has quietly not been a factor in the Big 12 for over a decade.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
it's been a while.
That's insane. It's been Colt McCoy ago since Texas has actually been back. Like, you would think.
I see talk on Twitter that it's like, why would Arch Manning go to Georgia? Kirby doesn't know anything about quarterbacks. Sarkisian knows quarterbacks. Texas is yada yada. It's like Texas has been garbage. Like they should be better. Like it feels like they're getting better, but they're also one of those programs where like desperate for them to be better.
Yeah.
So every time they show a sign of polls, it's like Sam Ellinger's famous words. It's like, oh, Texas is back. Like Miami's back. Every time they start to show something. So. It's like there's just certain programs we just desperately want to be good, and Texas is one of those. But that's why I'm still like apprehensive to go all in on Texas. Like
we also just need a quarterback reevaluation where these quarterbacks, I want to sit them down because one of the dumbest things we still see is these quarterbacks who commit to these big schools. It's like Malik Willis went to Liberty, Kenny Pickett went to Pitt. You look at these like Carson Strong, like Sam Howell's at North Carolina. You go up and down the list. Like North Dakota State has produced 2 top 5 quarterbacks in the last decade. You can go anywhere. It does not matter. Jared Goff was at Cal and went number 1 overall. Cal! Like, it just... I think it's so silly when these when I see it, I'm like, why do you want to join this crowded quarterback room with talent everywhere? Like, you can be the number 1 overall pick anywhere. If you're good.
But if you have talent everywhere around you, it makes your job...
Jared Goff didn't have a bunch of talent around him.
Of course, but... Tua was also a top 5 pick.
True.
And then Mac Jones is a top 15 pick.
Yeah.
And then Bryce Young is going to be a top 5 pick.
That's true.
So Ohio State has also had multiple top 5,
but a lot of them
picks.
haven't worked out. JT Barrett, Cardale Jones.
A lot of them haven't worked out, But they've gotten the NFL. That's on you once you get to the NFL. They're setting you up, loading talent around you and everything.
Yeah.
You can see why you'd also want to go to those.
Well, I guess my whole thing is
also, if you're an alpha like that, you always have been the best quarterback, and you don't really comprehend going into a scenario where you're not the best quarterback on the team.
That's just funny to me because like my mindset's not like that. If I was a 5-star high school recruit, I would not even check off those schools. I'd be like, no, I'm going to go ball out in the group of 5. I'm going to go to like somewhere where I can just put up bonkers numbers and just be really good. Like West Virginia with Graham Harrell, like fun vibes. Like there's no expectations. You can just put up numbers and it's fun. Like,
well, now you're familiar with the loan system in European soccer, right?
Yes.
So for those listening that aren't, big clubs will literally loan players to smaller clubs to get experience and play, and then they'll come back. Like I'm worried that that's what could happen in college football. Like Georgia, Alabama, look at this kid and they're like, in 2 or 3 years, I think you could have what it takes. We don't have the scholarships for you right now. Go down to Western Kentucky, get some reps, play every day, get some on-field experience, and then 2 years from now, we'll have a spot for you. Like, that's what could literally happen in this no sitting out transfer wild west we have.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't want to make any predictions on any of this because nothing would surprise me at this point. Everything is on the table and just who knows day to day. I don't know. But it is interesting, like if you're a Kansas fan or like Texas Tech or Iowa State, it's funny. We talk about Iowa State. It's like made this great progress. They still have never won the Big 12. And Oklahoma State, it's like Oklahoma State has just been this fixture. And Mike Gundy has been awesome for so long. It's like he's won the Big 12 once. One time. This is why Jimmy Johnson left and went to Miami. Is he had this conversation where he's like, dude, we're a top 10 program at Oklahoma State, but like this for whatever reason is not sustainable. Like you can go win a national title at Miami. You just can't. In Stillwater. It just kind of sucks because
I don't know that I'm not ready to say you can't though. Oklahoma's been a powerhouse. Like so
right.
You do have this one powerhouse. Like obviously they've gotten to the playoff.
Well, I think Oklahoma has to fall off then.
I mean that could be part of it.
They need a bad hire. Oklahoma State needs Oklahoma to go on probation or a bad hire. Like a really bad hire.
That could be part of it, but like there's a bunch of 10-win seasons under Mike Gundy's belt. Like I think Mike Gundy, he's proven what he is, and
that's what I'm saying. It's not a shot at Mike Gundy. I'm saying he's been great for a really long time, and he still has one Big 12 title to show for it. Just one.
That's fair. I don't want to say can't. He just hasn't. Like
it's strong Mark Stoops vibes, where like Kentucky's 12, never going to win it ever.
What is the Big 12 going to look like in 4 or 5 years, though? Like. If this is, it could still have the respect if BYU and Cincinnati come in and kind of just stay these level of programs that they are, and they're
UCF
kind of
and Houston too,
consistently in the top 15, 20. UCF too, for sure. Like if this is a respectable conference, like Oklahoma State could be the class of that conference. Like I think they definitely have the best tradition of all the teams left. I don't really think it's even close. Do you? Of the teams that will be left in the Big 12 outside after Oklahoma and Texas leave, like Kansas
the best
State,
tradition. What do you mean?
Just the overall who they are as a program, just traditionally the last 20, 30 years, like even recent history, like
I guess
the total package. I feel like Oklahoma State, it's better than
you could sell me on Baylor,
TCU. Like they've had good seasons, but I don't see anyone that's got really the ceiling that Oklahoma State necessarily has. Like, I feel like it's a little higher. It's like slightly lower than Oklahoma and Texas, but it feels higher than all the rest of the Big 12 to me.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
I was just a big Des Bryant, Zach Robinson fan. I was a big. They looked really cool in that era.
I'm gonna say it ends with like a Big 16. I think Memphis and like South Florida also come. I think it's gonna be something like that.
Gotta get Boise State in that conference.
Boise State's just such a small school. I think that's the problem, is they have a really small enrollment, and
probably true.
I don't think the money is there, like the facilities. Like they would have to get a bunch of fundraising. They would have to do a bunch of stuff to be able to keep up in the Big 12. Like they would have to just raise a lot of money.
We would lock down this Cheyenne, Boise market up here, right?
Yeah.
This is a lot of money up here.
I would go after Colorado State. Like, I would just bring them into the fold.
Colorado, I don't feel like Colorado State's on that level.
But I feel like they could. Colorado State's just one I feel like could be bigger.
I feel like if you're trying to get that next tier of basically what Central Florida and all those teams were, I feel like you go like San Diego State or
but
like
they
Fresno
don't feel like Big
State
12. They feel like Pac-12. If they ever
geography is out the window.
True.
We don't care about geography anymore. Like we got Central Florida, West Virginia, and TCU all in the same conference right now. We don't care about geography.
That's
got
true.
Missouri in the SEC East. We don't care.
I don't know. We'll see. Give me your early June 8th prediction. Who do you think wins it? I
just feel like Oklahoma takes a step back. Texas.
Same. I feel like they're not a good pick. I would not touch Oklahoma and Dylan Gabriel's health and just the amount of turnover they had. I would not take that at all. I don't think it's Oklahoma this year.
I agree. I feel like it's going to be Texas and Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship. I'm kind of leaning towards Oklahoma State. Like Spencer Sanders is like, I don't know. He's average, but I trust Mike Gundy. And just hopefully he doesn't have to play against Baylor too many times because I think he threw 75% of his interceptions last season against Baylor.
I think it's going to be Texas, Kansas State, and I think Kansas State beats Texas. And Twitter is a hilarious day when Kansas State beats Texas when Texas is almost back and loses the Big 12 title game to Kansas State.
But I always hate that sort of Twitter activity. Like teams that didn't make the conference championship talking smack to the team that lost the conference championship. It's like, you're not even here. Like, why are you even talking? You know? So people are probably going to troll Texas if they lose to Kansas State. But if Kansas State wins, then they win the Big 12 championship. They're obviously a good team. But you know Deuce Vaughn is my guy. So I wouldn't hate to see that. I think for the Big 12, for their ratings purposes, they want Texas in that game. They want Quinn Ewers to be a Heisman candidate. They want the Big 12 to be back in that way.
Interesting. All right, Matt Green. We can find you on Twitter, Matt_W_Green. Keep up with all your great college football content over on your Twitter feed and everything else. You got your posters. You keep adding to the studio. I like it. You're adding more and more each week.
Well, yeah, these is obviously temporary here. Not a permanent place, but I was like, just got it framed, so I need to flex the great year that was 2021. I should probably get Stafford up there too while I'm at it. Like, I mean, Stafford has been my guy. I would have been more special if it was the Lions, but you know, I got to rep Stafford. But no, I don't have the framed newspaper for the Rams winning, but. Got the Braves in Georgia back here. So, yeah, man. Got to rep the hardware. Also,
Georgia fans and their Stafford, man.
He's our guy, man.
It's
also,
so
Spencer Sanders threw 7 interceptions against Baylor. 7 of his 12 interceptions last season came against Baylor.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. Matt Green.
4 picks.
Yeah.
4 picks in the Big 12 championship, and you lose by an inch. Like, throw 3 interceptions, and you probably win the game easily.
Poor Poke fans, man. We support you guys. Keep being great Pokes, and maybe this is the year. Oklahoma down a little bit. So
I think it could be.
Matt Green, thank you as always, and I will talk to you next week.
Yes, sir.